This will be a quick review of what I did with my headliner after I bought this 99 Jeep Cherokee. I've had it for about a year now, and one of the first things that I did to the inside of it was modify a little bit the headliner to make it more custom and useful, if you will. So this is not a tutorial of how to replace the headliner, how to take it out, how to put it in, but there are a lot of videos out there for that, and it's actually a very easy job. I did it myself without any help, and just take some patience and try not to do it when you're in a hurry, and everything should line up just fine. But so after a failed attempt of trying to put on a liner, I decided to just go ahead and paint it with both, well, I started with Herculiner or bed liner, and ended up finishing it off with just spray paint. So then I decided that it needed something more, so I went ahead and added storage, and it's worked out really well. I did think ahead about where people are going to sit and whether or not they'd have headspace if I did it, and this is what I ended up with. Don't mind the red speaker covers. I thought that was a good idea at the time, but it just makes it look like my Jeep should be lowered and not lifted, and a lot bigger rims put on it. So let me show it to you from the back. And here you go. So the things that I did, I ended up putting this webbing on, which is actually cargo webbing from a helicopter cargo net, but you could use anything just about. You could use, like down here, you could use an old strap and cut that off, and I just burnt the ends where I cut it off so that it wouldn't fray. And or you could use just about anything, lawn chair straps or something like that, but you want something that's not going to stretch too bad on you. And after I'd cut it and laid it out, I ended up punching holes through both the webbing and the roof and installing where is it? There it is, Christmas tree fasteners through. And then once I had those punched through and snug, I clipped off the very ends and left it maybe about 1/4 of an inch, and then put epoxy around each post so that it would help it keep from pulling out once it had tension on it. I've had this headliner installed for about 8 months. I've put thousands and thousands of miles on this. I've taken it over trails, some vigorous trails, and it really hasn't sagged at all. Here in the back I've got no additional support, and it doesn't really move much more than it did when I first had it. On the webbing, what I did is I attached grenade or magazine pouches that I picked up online, and put as many of those as I could in each section here. And I got the ones with Velcro because they're a lot easier to open up, don't have to worry about the snaps. But they've done really well. Up in here I have just some ties, and here I got cargo nets from a surplus store and attached them using grommets that ended up being pretty useful. By using grommets instead of just going with the regular hole, it doesn't actually stretch out the hole, tear the headliner. The grommets that I got were these right here, and they're from Harbor Freight. They cost about $4. But one thing to note is that I did all of this while the headliner was out. It'd be kind of difficult to do any of this while it was in, so you need to kind of plan ahead before you install all this. I'll show it to you from the side. So you can see that I've got a few more pouches up here. There's some room for some more, but I just haven't had the need to use more at this point in time. I've got a bunch of empty ones up here. Actually, in this one here, I've got my walkie-talkies. Sorry for the focus. And these I actually attached through the cargo net to give it more support so that it doesn't hang as much. And got a pair of gloves up here. On this one here, this is probably the heaviest thing I have hanging from the roof, but this is my winch control, and the cable goes in two different grenade pouches. But it was sagging a little bit, not too bad, but as I added more stuff and as it all adds up, I was afraid it was going to start to sag on me. So one thing that I did do is I attached this magnet from Harbor Freight, and you can get those for about $4 if you can't get a coupon, which then you can get it for free. And what I did is I found the cross braces that go here, that go on, that are attached to your roof, and that way I could screw directly into those. Sorry for the focus. And by doing that, it attached this bar real tight up against the roof, and I've got virtually no play at all and don't have to worry about adding extra weight. And it comes in really useful because I can attach things that I use regularly, tire pressure gauge, all sorts of stuff, and it's actually strong enough that, you know, if you wanted to hang a handgun from there, it works out really well rather than keeping it laying on the floor or, you know, wherever you're sleeping at night. Makes it really useful to hang a lot of metal type objects. Thought about adding those other places as well. Other than that, it's pretty much it. Because I no longer have the insulation and the fabric to separate or keep this tight, I ended up buying these little rubber, I don't even know what you call them, but they've got slits in them, and it creates a space in between the light and the headliner, and so now it doesn't move and rattle around. It was kind of annoying there for a while. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Head visors, sun visors, I ended up painting those black with spray paint, and it's worked out relatively well. You get a little bit of dust from the spray paint that I could probably just vacuum off, but just haven't got around to it. It doesn't bother me that much. But I did that, and it's worked out really well, a lot better than trying to reline them. There's videos online for that too, but just didn't want to deal with it at the time. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. And like I said, it's been about 8 months. I'm real happy with it. It turned a pretty much useless space into a useful space, and I'd definitely do it all over again if I had to. Thanks for watching.